kept saying things like, nobody's above the law. I respect, the jury's decision in regards to my son. He didn't believe that, but he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm gonna stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't
Hold on.
know
Whoopi.
why he...
Whoopi cushion, Whoopi gold turds, whatever you want to call her. Ma'am, stop. That man flat out said, I will not pardon my son. He didn't say that I'm leaning towards not. He didn't say it's a possibility that I won't. He said, I will not. They say, do you respect the jury's decision? I respect the jury's decision. I will not pardon my son. Let's go to Charlamagne. Nick, I know you got the clip of Charlamagne the fraud. He goes on to The View, and y'all know we love The View, right? We love them. I think they pay Nick's salary right now. So thank you, View, for giving us the content that we need to succeed. But shout out to y'all for being absolutely ridiculous. I guess it's not a shout out. It should be a dig at y'all for being so ridiculous and silly. Hamburger heifers, the cackling hens. I should make a T-shirt with them on it. But anyway, you do not want to miss this clip because Charlamagne finally said something. You know I have my criticisms of Charlamagne. I would go on the Breakfast Club if I ever got on the Breakfast Club, and I think if they don't line up, they'll get destroyed. Because they played the game with Candace, because Candace is obviously one of the most intelligent black women to ever live, in my opinion. But Candace didn't grow up in the hood. And so they had her on the Breakfast Club and they were asking her these questions that people that grew up in the South or grew up in the hood would know. And they try to make her look bad and act like she's not really from the community and stuff. They'll have a very hard time doing that to me. This video is brought to you by Ground.News, brought to you by Ground.News. Ladies and gentlemen, my favorite site to make sure that I have balanced information, Charlamagne the fraud and Whoopi Goldberg. This is one thing I love about Ground.News because not only does it expose the difference between the left and the right in the way they report, it also exposes similarities. And it's funny that right now, as new as this story is, because it's, right now we only have probably about 18 articles. There's going to be a ton of them written by the time you guys refresh this. But you can see that they're pointing out that Charlamagne and Whoopi Goldberg got into a disagreement. They call it a clash. They call it, in some cases, for the most part, a clash, an altercation, you name it. The left is saying it. You go to the right, they're saying the same thing, that they got into it on The View, which is interesting to see because now either they are starting to be fair or we can catch them when they're not being fair like they should. I want to tell you guys about the blind spot. I think people are blind spotted at what's on the blind spot, to be quite honest. But the blind spot, the way it works is that these are things that the right is being blind spotted by, right? It says 9 states poised to end coverage for millions. Trump's cuts on Medicaid funding. This is something that they're talking about. The left is writing about. Nobody's writing about on the Republican side. If you go over here, this is things that the left is missing. Nobody on the left is writing about this. Ketanji Brown Jackson compares banning sex change for kids to bans on interracial marriage. You know how silly this is? So you don't want to miss anything. Make sure you go to the blind spot to see all the articles that you may be missing out on. And if you subscribe through my link at ground.news/Tatum, you'll get 50% off the Vantage plan, which is the plan that I use for unlimited access to all the features. This is their biggest sale of the year and only available for a limited amount of time. You can also gift this 50% off discount to your family members as well. I think personally that Ground.News is doing an incredible job. They're subscriber supported, and they support my channel. So I hope that you at least give them a chance and check them out. But anyway, let's go to Charlamagne the fraud on The View. Roll the clip.
Charlamagne the God has been a vocal force in the media throughout the 2024 presidential race, and he's joining us now at the table. Please welcome back the author of the book, Get Honest or Die Lying, Charlamagne the God.
Thank you for having me back.
Okay, so my question is, after the election, you said that you were disappointed but optimistic. How are you feeling right now?
I feel the same way because, I mean, what's the other option?
Right.
You know, I'm a country boy from Moncks Corner, South Carolina, raised on a dirt road. So, you know, my mother was a Jehovah's Witness, my grandmother was a Baptist. So I still believe in this higher power called God.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can't believe in God when, you know, things go your way and not believe in God when things don't go your way. So at a time like this, you just got to remember your serenity prayer, which
Yeah.
is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot
Yes.
change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom
And
to know the
wisdom to
difference.
know the difference.
Because we can't change nothing.
I love that. Yeah. Especially the wisdom to know the difference,
I
right?
mean, we can't change anything.
Can't.
I mean, you know,
Not yet.
well, 4 years from now, I guess.
Or two.
You never know.
But let me ask you this: like, Trump's campaign ads for some, they're saying they were very effective. And in one in particular ad, he used a clip of you from the Breakfast Club saying, "quote Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners." You say that line was taken out of context. I know it was. But it went on to become one of his most effective campaign ads. I'm also featured in one of his campaign ads.
You might have been 1 and 2.
Yeah. I was. He texted me and
Yours was
let
not
me
taken
know
out
that.
of context.
No.
No, it wasn't. But
Wow.
what were you actually saying in the clip? And can you please explain that? And how does it make you feel that the campaign used you like that?
Well, it's never good to be taken out of context, but I was
Right.
I was explaining to my listeners how effective I thought the actual ad was. Like, you know, the ad was effective before I was in it. I was just sitting at home watching football, and I saw it, and I was like, whoa. And so I knew the immediate reaction was going to be, you know, people are going to say, hell no, I don't want my taxpayer dollars going to that. So I was explaining that to my listeners. So, I mean, yeah, it never feels good to be taken out of context, but what I didn't like the most was that they
Hold
didn't
on.
do it.
Charlamagne, bring your bald head self over here. What part were you taking out of context? He still haven't mentioned what context he was actually in. I saw the commercial. Kamala Harris, clear as the noonday sun, was literally in an interview saying that they're going to pay for transition surgery for illegal aliens and people who are incarcerated for committing crimes against other people. And then he got on the Breakfast Club and said, this is outrageous. Heck no, nobody. That's completely ridiculous that she would say this. This is terrible. What other context, Charlamagne? I don't understand these people of the melanin. Sometimes they are the most disingenuous folk that you ever gonna meet. Charlamagne, why can't you just be honest and say it was just terrible that she said it? Nobody really wants that. I like all the other policies or whatever you want to say. Why you gotta act like he took you out of context, bruh? Everybody saw the context. We saw the Breakfast Club show. Roll the clip.
Anything to combat it.
Right.
I would have ran the same ad and just said, Donald Trump, you know, what is it? Donald Trump supports, what is it? What was it?
He was the one that was supporting
his
tax.
policy.
Yes, Donald Trump supports
sex change.
taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. I would have ran the same ad because it was
Yeah.
legislation under him as well. And you know what else I would have did if I was our campaign? Since Donald Trump used me, I would have used Joe Rogan. Joe
Yes.
Rogan said Donald Trump was a threat to democracy.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan said he thought Donald Trump was, I think, unhinged was the quote.
Right.
You got to mix it up. You got to get dirty with these people. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to muddy the waters a little bit, cause confusion.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something that's going around right now. A lot of this conversation about President Biden getting criticized from both sides of the aisle for pardoning his son Hunter after repeatedly saying he would never do it. And a lot of people are saying that it's hypocritical, et cetera, as if
It
the
is.
other side doesn't do it. But what's your reaction to it?
I mean, I think all of the criticism is valid because, you know, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time. And, you know, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, you know, whether or not, you know, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that right now. But since they were calling Trump a threat to democracy and they were saying that, you know, nobody's above the law, but they were speaking about him, that's what they were running on. So when he kept saying things like, you know, nobody's above the law, I respect, you know, the jury's decision in regards to my son, he didn't believe that. But he didn't have to volunteer that lie to begin with.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't
Hold on.
know
Whoopi.
why he...
Whoopi. Whoopi cushion. Whoopi gold turds. Whatever you want to call her. Ma'am, stop. That man flat out said, I will not pardon my son. He didn't say that I'm leaning towards not. He didn't say it's a possibility that I won't. He said, I will not. They say, do you respect the jury's decision? I respect the jury's decision. I will not pardon my son. He said it. He meant it. Case closed. I mean, allegedly he meant it. Clearly he didn't because he totally pardoned his son. But then you can't say because now here's another thing. Now he's saying, oh, it was because it was a political attack. You didn't think it was a political attack when he was happening to him? When he was going to trial? When we were talking about this? You didn't think it was a political attack? He has to come before the people and explain why all of a sudden he changed his mind if he don't want people to think it's a lie. Whoopi just can't handle the truth of the matter. Y'all lied. Y'all said all this stuff. Now you look like a fool with an egg on your face. Roll the clip.
He changed
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a
No,
sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over. And this is just my feeling, because at some point you get to the place where you just go, so I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that
you're
go
miss-
out. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen,
they don't have to do that.
I'm a Democrat. Tell me what the moral high ground is.
The moral high ground is nobody's above the law. I respect what the jurors are saying. You don't have to do
So we're
that.
mad at him because he changed his.
Oh, no. By the way, I'm not mad at him pardoning
But you
Hunter Biden.
sound like you're
No.
mad.
If I could get in on this, I actually think it went further, and this is one thing we really disagree on. Joe Biden made a point of saying we stand by our institutions
Yes, I
and the
understand all that.
impartiality of the
Yes.
Department of Justice.
Yes.
Democrats ran on that. The same DOJ indicted Hunter Biden. How we shouldn't be saying it's corrupt like Donald Trump does. But then in his statement pardoning Hunter Biden, he says that it was a political pursuit by his own Department of Justice.
Explain
But
to
that
me
is-
why it is that when Joe Biden does something, everybody clutches their pearls. He's wrong.
Nobody
he lied.
has criticized Donald Trump more than me or Charlamagne the God.
I'm sorry. Yeah, people have criticized him more. I've criticized him more. We've all criticized him more, but you're missing my question.
Okay.
My question is, what is it that makes people flip out with Joe, but we don't have the same kind of thing?
Well, I don't think people are flipping out with Joe. I think Democrats are flipping out with Joe because Democrats believe that they don't represent what he's currently representing. But that's just not true. That's why I say they stand on this moral high ground that simply does not exist. And I think this is also the problem when we pick sides, right? We've turned political parties into teams. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Ain't nobody more delusional than me, right? Okay? I feel like we're going to the Super Bowl every year, but I'm not delusional. Well, no, that is delusional. But when it comes... But when it comes to political parties, if you pick a side, right, if you say you're a Democrat, if you say you're a Republican, you refuse to be objective about
That's
anything.
why I'm an independent.
Yes, but that's
And I
not.
think that's the best way to go.
Y'all, hold on. First of all, she's not an independent. Second of all, he didn't just get a pardon, right? He got a blanket pardon for everything for the last 11 years. So if he just got pardoned on the 2 crimes that he was convicted of more recently, and it is what it is, that wouldn't even be, that'd be silly. It would be distasteful, but that wouldn't be as bad as what he actually did. He said he's not going to pardon his son. He gave him a blanket pardon for anything that could come up, that has come up for the last 11 years. Why 11 years? Because that's when he was implicated in Burisma, all of that financial crimes that he did, all the financial crimes that he did allegedly related to his tax evasion. All of those things happened in the last 11 years. We had whistleblowers come out, Bobolinsky came out, the 10% to the big man, all of that stuff that a real FBI would investigate and prosecute. He made his son exempt from prosecution of anything that may arise. It's insane. Roll it.
But that's not a monolith. We're not. Democrats are not a monolith.
But why can't you say when Democrats are wrong? And why can't Republicans say when Republicans are wrong?
I'll tell you when Democrats
So
are
you
wrong.
don't think Joe
I say
Biden
it
is
on the
wrong?
show.
No, I don't.
don't.
And can I
Well,
just
that's
point this out to you?
ridiculous.
The president has a
No,
pardon power,
you're ridiculous.
right?
I didn't say you were ridiculous, Ms. Goldberg.
Yeah,
I would
well,
never. I said that. I just think that's
Think
ridiculous.
about
Come over
it.
and give
Just
me a
think about
kiss.
it this way.
Now they
Just very just
Now they
very
hunching
quickly,
on the TV.
Can you reframe it in this way and think about it maybe in this way? The
these
president
women.
has the ultimate pardon power. Every president has done this, right?
Yeah.
And so people are saying is that Joe Biden is now a liar, as opposed to Joe Biden is someone who now knows that the person that is going to be in the White House is on a revenge tour and his son is on an enemies list. And so he is using his rightful power, his rightful political power, to pardon his son. Now, is that a lie, or is that perhaps being pragmatic, having a change of opinion, as opposed to the president-elect who has lied almost 40,000 times during his first term?
Well, I can't say what it is because
So
I'm not
who
in
has the moral high ground? Like, what's the faux outrage?
neither one of them have the moral high ground. That's what I'm trying to get everybody to understand. But when you are a diehard Democrat or a diehard Republican, you refuse to be objective about the other party. Like it's like we're watching them do something wrong, but we're making excuses for it.
Well, we would like
we watch
to.
Republicans do things wrong and they make excuses for it. Why can't we just all be
It's
objective
not
and call it what it
balanced.
is?
It's not
Because it's not
Because it's not the same.
But wait,
But the girl over here talking about she an independent. All these women are Democrats and they're stupid, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. I have the freedom to say that. I think they stupider than 8 left shoes on a 10-legged man. But they are being disingenuous. They are using their platform to try to defend him. It's indefensible. They still won't bring up the fact that it was an 11-year pardon. They still won't bring up that fact. It's not a man thinking that all of a sudden Donald Trump is going to be on a revenge tour. No, the next thing he's going to do is he's going to pardon his brother. Joe Biden's brother is implicated in this too. He just pardoned Hunter right now because Hunter about to go to jail like next month. So he had to get that out the way. He's going to pardon his brother. You just wait. He's going to pardon a whole bunch of other people that could be implicated in this. He may even pardon his wife. I don't know what they probably involved in all kinds of stuff. You just wait. And I think one thing he may try to do to save face at the very last hour after all his backlash is to try to pardon Trump. And then the left is going to say, see, he's balanced and fair. No. He's trying to pardon Trump so Trump can have a little grace on him.